Did you have anyone in particular who, like, I guess in your formative years, like schooling, maybe even into your 20s, anyone who kind of like helped encourage your writing and your reading?
No,
Okay.
no. I did not. It was all me.
Yeah.
It was all me. It was all me. And then, but that's actually a funny enough, a funny story. That's part of how I came up with the name for my blog when I was now established. Okay, I want to start a blog now.
This conversation is with Beaton, a blogger from Zimbabwe, and he might be one of Zimbabwe's first bloggers or earliest bloggers. So it was really amazing uh, to hear his journey into becoming a blogger. It's kind of, I'd say, an unusual career for someone from Zimbabwe. So he's in ways forging a path for others to do the same thing. And he talks a bit about this, how he's become a mentor to other people hoping to work in this space. And he talks about just the challenges of being a blogger in Zimbabwe. Yeah, really interesting conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, Vita. Finally are online
I
at the same time. It's always a challenge, but it's worth it.
and finally here we are. Yeah, it's taken. At least I got it. I'm now able to tie my bow tie better.
Yeah, you've had some more time to practice, so that's great.
I was able to
Uh,
practice it. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm now pretty decent.
Amazing. So should we do that as a bit of an icebreaker? Start off with you doing a bow tie tying attempt. So we'll give you three tries. One
Few
now,
trials.
one in the
Mhm.
middle, and then one towards the end of our conversation. So do you want to
Sure.
have your first shot now?
First shot. Okay. Yeah. Let's see how that was going.
Okay. Okay. So you've got your bow tie, the bottoms of it level.
Bottoms
Yeah, that's cool. I
levels.
don't need to see. Yeah, that's great. And then if you can put your hands away so I can do the stopwatch. Okay.
Wait, do you have to
Ready?
do my this button? Wait,
Oh yeah, that'll help. Yeah, do your top button, do your top button, and
yeah,
maybe pop up your collar. Let's
and pop
give
up
you
my color.
a fair starting thing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And three, two, one, go. Do you want to tell us what you're doing as you do it, or that'll distract you?
I'll get distracted.
Okay. It's looking really good right now. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Done.
Yes.
Boom. Wow. That was that was amazing.
But okay. 41 seconds.
We
So
might
41
have
seconds?
I feel like the internet may have let you down there because it like froze up a little bit. Because you were like nearly done at 20 seconds. So I might have to go and look at the recording and actually see.
Let's see how long it.
Because
Okay.
you were like at 20 seconds, it was like almost there. So
I've been
that was
trying, I've
amazing.
been practicing. It
You
shows.
could
Yeah.
see your fingers were like, yeah, your fingers were like quite fluent. It's I don't know how else to describe it. It was really good. So amazing, amazing. It's always good to see. We actually should have tried to get you like, I don't know, last year got you to like film yourself and then to see the difference. It's always nice.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I actually did like a couple of videos some time back. Unfortunately, I changed phones, so I don't have them anymore. When I first learned,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I had to go to an event. And I was like, okay, so I have a perfect event to break out my bow tie, but how do I put it on? I had to go to Google, and then I noticed also on the Zim bow ties website, I think there were like some tutorials, and then I got some YouTube links. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
there looking at the YouTube video, and you're going,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was almost a year ago now, right?
It was
Just
actually
a while back. Yeah.
exactly a year back.
Okay.
Yes,
That's cool.
because
What
I was going to. I remember there was an event I wanted to attend, which
okay.
was in September, no, October.
Time flies. Time flies. I think I saw on your website a long time ago. I don't know if the picture's there. An old picture of you wearing a bow tie. Uh, I was like just going through your exploring your website. This was like 2, 3 years ago, maybe.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, this guy wears bow ties. I need to talk to him.
Well, when you wear bow tie, you feel kind of like James Bond, yeah. And then those ones, though, those ones are clip-on bow ties, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just, yeah,
that's cool. When
it's
did
just a
you?
whole different ball game altogether.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just, I definitely I wear those when I'm feeling like a little bit lazy. Like I'm just like I just need to put on a bow tie quickly.
And then
Uh,
you just, but very quickly, if you can, how fast do you take to tie yours?
uh, I think I've done it in like 25 seconds, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think the record actually like is probably faster than I can do it. So the record is 17 seconds on this podcast. Uh, so I don't know if I can do it that quick. But you were close. Like you were, yeah. It'll be interesting to see on your next two attempts. When did you start wearing your other bow ties? Like when did you?
When did I start wearing the bow ties?
Yeah, like, yeah. You had like some clip-on bow ties that you wore previously. Like what made you wear them?
Why? There's something distinct about having a bow tie instead of a tie.
Okay.
You just it is different. But and I think as I said, you get this James Bond vibe going on, like a man of mystery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And taking a bit of like that old school type of fashion. You know
yeah.
how fashion goes around and then comes back again. I even have those suspenders, cross belts. So it's an
Nice.
interesting look. Because I'm like, okay, who are you and where are you from?
Yeah,
And
that's cool. I dig.
becomes an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I like you've said this. I've seen this on your in some of your writing. You're like, I'm not my hair, but the combination of your hair and the bow tie is like awesome.
And but yeah. And of course, I my very distinct beard, which has been like with me for I grew it myself.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
So it's kind of grown on me because yeah, I turned gray like much faster or sooner than I should have. So it took me a while to accept it. I actually had to diet for a bit. Then I was dying a little bit inside as well. And then
Yeah,
once you get to accept those things, now it's almost like a distinct. People will recognize you from the street, like, "Hi, I know you from the internet."
yeah.
I
Oh
guess
wow, that's cool. When did that
yeah.
start happening to you?
In my 20s.
Okay, so it's like so you got into the blogging game like I guess let's rewind a bit and what's been your journey to where you are now.
My blogging journey. Let's see.
Yeah.
This is hard to define. I've always been inclined to write. Wait, actually, if we start at the beginning,
Yeah, let's
I
start at
was
the
a
beginning.
voracious, I was a voracious reader and rather precocious. So I started reading like when I was very young. I was reading stuff I probably should not have been reading at that age. But you know, when you can read those little blue books, the little red books, the sunrise readers, and then you're looking at it and it's just going, oh, look, 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 look. Oh, 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 oh. Boy, boy, boy. And the dog's going bow, wow, right? I
Yeah.
was like, ah, is there something else I can read? And then I'll read the readers for the more advanced students. And the teacher will be like, wait, did you actually read this? Because I'll return the book and like, I finished with this one. Can I have something more challenging? And then the teacher will be like, now you're lying. What was this about? Okay, this one was about this, the monkey and the little boy, and they did that. And that's all. Dog was barking and the monkey ran away with the ball, and that's it. So the teacher was like, okay, fine. Let me try you for the next level. And then they give you next level books and you're going through, you're breezing through those ones, next level, next level. And then I'm also getting my hands, of course, home. I still believe a home isn't a proper home unless it is a good bookshelf.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I came from a house with a good bookshelf. So I was
Amazing.
reading at
Yeah.
home, there's this Charles Dickens, and I'm trying to read that. I don't understand it. What's the Victorian era? Okay, I'm like 9, 10, but I was reading that, and this is before the internet. So some of
Yeah.
the things you're just trying to imagine what is this Victorian era, what is all this. So I was just imagining that, and then I also started like doing my own stories. So I just do little drawings and little write little short little snippets, and then just going on with that. And as you're going to school, those essays you're supposed to write, the teachers will be like, no, this is how you're supposed to write. Can we print this out? Then wasn't that was you type, stick it on the wall so the other kids can come and see this interesting writing form. So from then, I just liked the writing. And fast forward, going to high school, I also took class. That was one of my favorite, or was it easiest? I found it super easy. Everyone's complaining, no, I have to read this whole book. The Great Expectations is like 465 pages.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
boom, tomorrow I'm already doing the reviews. Like, yeah, this is what's his name, Miss Havisham, all those things. And everyone's impressed and surprised. Like, where are you coming up? Like, it's in the book. Didn't we all read the same
I
book?
think that was one of my set books, and I don't think I finished it. Like, oh,
I actually have friends who also didn't finish it to be there. Like, so would actually have this little evening meetups and would talk, and then everyone just bring read them, and I'll just give them the Sparks as the human Sparks vision notes. So I'll
wow.
be like, yeah, okay,
Wow.
and this is what they do. This is the important stuff. These are the themes. This is what this book addresses. Then I'd write little short notes. So I found that super easy. It was so ridiculous. I'm like, how is not everyone else not? I mean, it's just even the answers. There's really no correct answer. It's just what you're thinking and imagining.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, well, I don't know what Charles Dickens was thinking, but I would think he would think this and then
Yeah.
go that way. And then, like, yeah,
Yeah. I think
Shakespeare, I think we did what?
that was the missing link for me with English literature was like that, like just and believing in your own opinion. Like I was like, no,
Yeah,
there must be a right answer. But yeah,
no, fortunately for me, I was able to just embrace, like, I know I'm totally making this one up, but
yeah,
I'm going this way because there's no way we cannot go to his grave and dig him up and ask him, what were you thinking when you wrote this book?
yeah,
How
yeah,
were you feeling?
yeah.
And we also did Shakespeare, 12th Night. You know? If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. Surfeiting the appetite may sicken, and so forth die. I remember the first lines. And this
Yeah,
is what, over 20 years back?
yeah,
24 years. Yeah, and I still got it.
amazing.
And we just read that, and so the reading and the writing aspect, I've been writing, and I wrote for my friends little stories. I think I tried to write a sci-fi book at some point. Um, and then life happened, and we grew up, and those things, you sort of put it away. Oh, and then discovered the internet. Yeah. We used to have, what was this, I5? and there was Opera Mini. And we had Opera Mini blogs. And from there, I saw little writing communities, and we'll be there writing these short stories, these little things, and just commenting on the world and life in general. Like, okay, this is fun. And then connecting up with people from all over the world, and they're telling us their stories. I'm telling them mine, and we're just having a riot,
Yeah.
making friends on High Five and Friend Finder, Friendster. And then along came Facebook.
Wow.
So I discovered Facebook now. Okay, I didn't discover it. It came up because High Five was like before. Then Facebook came up. And now with Facebook, I think everyone kind of went on it, and the internet was now more accessible. We didn't have to do the thing where you had to go to an internet cafe and pay for like 30 minutes
Yeah. Oh.
typing a lot. And you have to type as fast as 30 you can type in 30 minutes. Then you'll be back like next week or next month to check your messages and reply. And then Facebook happened, and then everyone kind of joined Facebook, and that became that whole community by itself. And at a point, Facebook used to have these Facebook notes where you could actually write little long form content. They scraped it. I'm hurt even now because some of my earliest content was written in the Facebook notes. So
Yeah.
I'd go there and notes. And then some of the thoughts were now, as I was expanding my horizons and my thoughts, some of them were very out of this world, shall I say, or even the gnome. And you'll be like, yeah, Facebook is mostly your friends, connections, people you went to school with, you work with, colleagues, church, people. Generally, it starts with the people you know in real life, in the real world. So you could write something, and then someone will call you up and like, so about this, what were you trying to say here? You said someone is a very bad person and they did this. Like, no, that's a character who's not based on anybody. That whole event was it is. I'm not talking about anything or anyone. Or I was just right. I was feeling very dark, so I wrote something dark and broody. But then someone's concerned, like, who are you talking about? Who? What is this? Is it me? Yeah, we have our differences, but that was so not you. So from then I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't put all of my thoughts on Facebook. I need to find somewhere else to put them.
Well, what
And
age were you when you first like got onto the internet and started like finding
probably
online communities?
um, 18, 19.
Okay. Okay. And
Around
and you
18.
and you're going to like internet cafes to do this.
Yeah, and you had to go to an internet cafe.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have mobile internet. That came like
Yeah.
almost years later. Probably 10 years later also.
And what do you think like drove you, I guess, because everyone was doing it, or like what was like you had friends who were online or
I think it started because when we finished school, some of my classmates from back from high school, some left the country,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you'll be sending each other those chain emails like,
yeah.
is there a better way for us to get in touch? Like, okay, go to join this platform, then we can have like real chat conversations with other
Yeah.
people.
I guess I have
So
the
first you go there to connect with your old friends, and then but you suddenly in this you realize how you can chat with someone in Canada, someone in Malaysia, all over the world,
So
and
were you doing that? Were you talking to a lot of people who weren't your friend, like weren't your, I guess they maybe became your friends or like at a young age, how yeah, when did you start talking to basically strangers and like getting to
yeah,
know?
around probably let's say about 18, 19 when I finished school.
Yeah.
So it would be first I was chatting, I was just there to chat with my friends, the ones
Yeah.
who I know from who left home and now they're in another country. Those are actually the ones with the exposure to tell us that, like, yeah, please, can you get this thing? Because if I write you a letter,
Yeah.
we still did letters back then. Now, if I write you a letter, you'll probably get it after a while or not at all.
Yeah, it hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, so someone would send you like the one and only letter they probably sent was the one where they said, okay, here's my email address. If you can hit me up on email, and then we will get in touch that way because calling was so out of the.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll send an email. So we do the emails, and then like, yeah, can you try out this platform? There's this one. There's High Five. It's pretty cool, and there's so many friends. We can even start like a a group of old school students and just curate our own little community. So we'd have this and there's old school students and it's just growing. And in there, your own people are introducing you to others like, oh, you like to write. There's this one with people who share their stories with their thoughts. Join this little group, and then you join a group and you're in there chatting. People are exchanging their notes and the stuff they've written, and you're just expanding and working on that and just having fun. Actually, it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I feel like not a lot of people make that jump though, to talking to like strangers. Maybe I wonder what percentage of people make that jump. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's not something that most people do. Is there something that?
I've actually never thought about that in any way. That jump to talking to strangers. But then here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You might not consciously, when you say it like that, like talking to strangers,
Yeah, you don't think that, right? Yeah,
it seems weird. Like now, like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
when did I start talking to strangers on the internet?
yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
strangers is
yeah,
the wrong
actually, I was
word.
talking to strangers.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. In these online communities and platforms, you'll find that it's easier to chat with a stranger and tell them something like, hey, this is, I feel sad right now, or I'm angry, I'm actually very, very happy. And you can tell this to someone you don't know and you probably never talk to again.
yeah,
But tell your brother, your sister, your mom, dad, not so much. So
yeah,
sometimes there's that thing, it's easier. I think some one of these old poets or whatever said that give a man a mask and he'll tell you anything. So I
yeah.
guess
No,
that's the thing. We give you that safe space, we give you that mask, and all you have no one really knows who you are. You've got a cool username. You're called Cool Guy. That's your name. So yeah, I'm Cool Guy. Hi. I'm probably not even saying I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm just hi. I'm Cool Guy on the internet, and then we're chatting. That's it.
yeah,
I feel protected that the stranger doesn't know who I am, just like I don't know who they are.
yeah,
But on a level where people, when you start sharing some of these stories, you connect with someone. We connect with each other through our stories, through these stories we tell ourselves. And sometimes, as you're realizing that um, something which you think is just you alone who's going through this, you realize that other people are also going through something similar or worse. What you're thinking is trouble. Like, yo, I'm struggling with this. I cannot find a channel to watch. I've got 200 channels and I'm scrolling through them. And they're like, you don't have a TV, my guy.
yeah,
Those are nice life problems that you have. I mean, and then you're
yeah,
there trading problems and life experiences into realizing some things which you think are a challenge for this other person, they're not a challenge. And what they think is a challenge is not. And then so, but I guess you need to have this interface where you're able to connect on that level and
hmm,
just, yeah. And given that degree of anonymity that you actually do put up who you want to be, how you
hmm,
want to be known by the internet, that's actually the jump which might happen, that when you're there on the internet, are you there as yourself? Are you there as or are you there on the internet as? Because obviously, like in the early days, I wasn't there as Beaton. I was just there as some random username, which
yeah,
18-year-old me thought was pretty cool. And
yeah.
my first email address was the one which I cannot use on my CVs and stuff because like, okay, what was I thinking when I created this email address? I cannot
Hotmail at
say it out aloud in
hotmail.com.
good company. But after a while, I guess you get to own it and be there like, okay, this is me. This is okay. Yeah, this is actually me. That's even one of the reasons I think I was mentioning that I sort of ran away from Facebook, because on Facebook, the way that community kind of came up, it usually, when it started anyway, even now, I guess, in a way, most of the people who connect on Facebook, it's more of real life connections. It's
Mm,
someone who knows you somehow. You've done some dealings, or it's your family, it's your work people. There's an element of you knowing each other somehow. If you look at this person profile, or maybe they're just from your hometown, or they went to the school you went to. It
mm,
could have been years apart, but yeah, that's that connection that you have. Like, yeah, you just posted a photo. Like, our school's motto was "Vincere Caritate." So if I post that, some random person's going like, "Hey, I'm like, yeah, same, yeah," and then But
Yeah.
that's you get that. So they're no longer a stranger or a tribe. And in the wilderness, that is the internet, you'll always find that these strangers, there's always some connection that identifies your tribe. As I said, I like the writing, the reading, literature. So I would gravitate towards people who have read the books I read and similar thoughts on the books I read, or who wrote as well. Because once you're there, like, I wrote this thing, like, wow, this is beautiful. I also wrote this. What do you think? And
Mm.
you connect. So suddenly, just because of that, they don't become that stranger. You have a connection. You might not know their real name or their whole story, but there's a small thing that you just connected over, and that bridge, that gap.
Yeah. And I guess it can change, like some people you can just have that one interaction, or you can have multiple interactions with the same person. Is there anyone, or do you have people online who you've never met in person who like are as good friends as some of your like uh in-person friends? Or I want to say in real life, but like the internet is real life in ways, but you know what I
The
mean?
internet, actually, the internet has become real life.
Yeah.
Uh, Initially, we might have said that the internet is just this passing fad
Yeah.
and going to, it's a hobby. It's, yeah, we're there to connect with people and just have fun. But now it's become a whole world, and the connections that you make there can actually be real world, real impactful. And
Yeah.
I would even go on to say that I think that there are people on the internet who are closer to me than the closest people in real life. In this here real
Yeah.
world,
Yeah. Yeah.
is someone I have never met who's supported some of my journey in ways that other people have never done before, who's showed up, who's always there. And
Yeah.
it's weird. And I've never met this person physically outside of like a probably doing a Zoom like this one. And this is
Yeah.
actually a recent development when we're able to do this. But before, is it the emails, the little comments on the blogs? You always know they're always there.
Yeah.
If I don't post up content on my website, you'd see the email, hi, you haven't posted in like a month. Are you okay? Is
Wow.
everything
Yeah.
fine? Like, no, I didn't have data, you know. And, like, okay,
Yeah.
um, let me send you something. Where'd you get your data from? Like, oh yeah, no, I use mobile data. Okay, let me make you a little something so you can get
That's cool.
some
Yeah.
internet data. And yeah, just like that. You're like, wow, okay, that was unexpected.
Yeah. That's nice, eh? It's just great. That yeah, amazing. And have you ever met anyone who you met online? You must have met people online who you've met before in person.
Yes, I think I mentioned earlier. I said, yeah, apparently I look very distinct. So even on my
Yeah,
photos,
yeah, yeah.
and I run whenever I go to like some sort of event, people usually will come up to me like, "Hi, you are Uncle B?" Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
So someone, a random stranger, will just pull up and like, "Yeah, we should do coffee sometime." Like, yeah, sure, we'll do the coffee shares. And
Very
of
nice.
course, I have met other people like intentionally who I've always known from the internet. Like, okay, so we actually should meet up, and yeah.
Yeah,
And I am planning to. I feel I want to. It's a little dream I used to have way back, but now I really want to make it real. To travel like just Africa and
very.
meet up with some of my friends from across the continent. Like, yeah, I've only been to South Africa and Mozambique,
That sounds like an epic
but
idea.
now, yeah. So like, okay, guys, if I just say I'm coming to a country, who's going to host me up? Because yeah, I'm probably going to do like the really budget backpackers, jump into a bus and go to the next country and another country and another country and just see how that goes.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That'll be great.
So it used to be like a pipe dream, but now I'm thinking like, why not? Why not? Why? Yeah, wait, like, no, I'll do it when I have what, when I can afford
Yeah, yeah,
airfares and stuff. But no, you just jump into a bus, head to Zambia, um, go somewhere
yeah.
else, go somewhere else. I have a friend who I met just a few weeks back who's actually who traveled from Uganda to Southern Africa, and they're just going country by country. They travel by bus as well. So that was part of my inspiration. Like, wow, you're doing
Yeah.
this. This is actually very possible. You
It's
just jump
very
into a bus.
doable, yeah.
Yeah, and then some of the people, some of these contacts from online, you can be like, yeah, no, if I get to your country, you can help me out with any of the easier things. Like, so it's not like you're going to a place you've never been before, but you're meeting up with people who you have sort of known from
Mm.
online, and those can be that guide process. So I'm like, yeah, if you do go through that, I could also establish my own network and be like, yeah, you want to do what I do. Let's also have our own route and do this.
That's awesome. Yeah. I guess yeah, that just like gives it another element. I think it's like so good for almost like world peace. Like the
World peace.
internet. Like
Mm.
just being this exposure to different people and different cultures and like uh and I guess you find people who like have a different upbringing, but you've got something in common. And it just shows like this person who's growing up in a completely different country, you connect over books or writing or something like that. And like actually so much of us have so much in common. And like if we just focused more on those things than the things that tear us
Than the
apart.
things that separate us. Yeah. And that's the
Yeah,
funny thing
yeah.
that yeah,
It's
we've got
awesome.
so many
Did you
similarities.
yeah. Did you have anyone in particular who like I guess in your formative years, like schooling, maybe even into your 20s, anyone who kind of like helped encourage your writing and your reading?
No,
Okay.
no. I did not. Um, it was all me. It
Yeah.
was all me. It was all me. And then, but that's actually a funny enough, a funny story. That's part of how I came up with the name for my blog when I was now established. When I was, okay, I want to start a blog now. Um, for you to create, you need an artist, needs a muse. So I was like, okay, so who's my inspiration? Who am I even? And that's the thing here in Zimbabwe, at least, when I started blogging, it wasn't even a thing. You look around and try to find who would you learn from, because there was no one to learn from. If they were there, we didn't know about them. So I was just there thinking, okay, becoming the muse. I mean, if I'm the muse, I'll muse myself. So this is my journey to becoming the muse. The
Yeah.
muse.
I love it. I love it. And there's also it's like it's yeah, be coming. Uh
Yeah.
right?
So there's a lot of play going in there. Like, yeah.
Amazing.
So so I became the muse. And of course, afterwards, after many years, and I felt confident in doing that and being like, yeah, I can talk about blogging. I also was like, right, I really to I wanted someone who would do these things for me. Now I am going to become the person who does this for others. The things which I was looking for, that person would be that formative person who's like, go for it, do it. Yeah, right. Start now. Like, is this now? Do it right.
Yeah, yeah,
That publish button, right? I didn't have someone who did that,
yeah.
but I became the person who did that for others. So anyone who's coming to me like, yeah, you've been doing this for a while. I also want to start. How do I do this? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. What's your idea? Great. What are you waiting for? No, I'm not in the start. And
Yeah,
then when I see them later on, I'm like, did you start?
yeah, yeah,
Have you started yet? Why haven't you started? And that's how I got to be the Uncle B. Because I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, so I'm like the blogging uncle. Anyone who wants to step into that blogging space,
Amazing.
I'd be there. Like, yeah, sure. send them my way. Anyone who wants to ask about my journey, who wants to learn from my journey, the things I've learned to do, not to do, or the things I know I'm not supposed to do, but I do anyway. Because you're like, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, you just need someone who's telling you go for it.
Yeah.
Because if you're out there looking for materials, you're searching the internet, you realize you will never be ready. And then you also realize that the standards you're holding yourself to, someone else made them up and posted them, and this is how you do it. This is where you
Mm.
start, and this is how your progress is supposed to go. But that's just someone who put that there. There's no rules. You can do pretty
Yeah.
much. You can
Yeah.
interpret it whichever way you want. Like one of the most questions people ask about or want to know about blogging, I think there's this whole thing about you should have like a niche for your blog where it's like, yeah, are you a fitness blogger? Then you're a fitness, then you're doing the fitness branding and you're doing all those things, or you're doing food, you're a foodie, you do the food, this is how you take the photos of it. And when if you're a foodie and the world now realizes you're a foodie blogger, now you can't talk about sport because even if you want to, you can't do that because everyone now knows you as this is what you do. Right?
Yeah.
Unless you have didn't if you have multiple interests, then you have to start another blog which does this. Okay, now I'm into motoring. Then you have to start another blog which does motoring, and then so sometimes they ask like, how do I find my niche? Because the niche should be something you're passionate about. But then you're like, says who made this rule that you have to do it this way? You could just find your way, figure out, then learn what you like. If you really want to niche it down and be more professional in a certain level and a certain brand, you can always step up to that. But in the meantime, right now, just start. How
Yeah.
do you know this is your niche when you haven't tried any other thing? You
Yeah.
haven't made the mistakes. Like so you think this is who you are, but is it? Is it really? You never tried the other stuff. Someone's there like, no, I can't write fiction because I only do this. And you're like, but you've never tried writing fiction, so step out of that comfort zone. Try it. So I'd be there. I'm that uncle who's there. Like, yeah, no, the rules are there, but you will not die if you break them. Um, who says all the web articles should always be like how to do this, how to do that, put numbers. That's what drives traffic. Are you doing it for the traffic? You're doing it because you have something you want to share. And even when you share the thing you want to share and no one else reads it, that's still fine.
Yeah.
Because that's a big challenge, right? Because yeah, you put yourself out there, then you create this content, you put your podcast up, and you're there looking at the stats, and it's on zero always. And you're asking yourself, so why did I do that?
Yeah.
Uh, but when you have a reason, when you're like, yeah, I do this because yeah, this is the story I want to put out. And sometimes the person you're actually doing this is for yourself. You're not doing it for someone to learn from it. You actually just, I think it's like a sort of catharsis. Um, I
So
like
it's
to
like
say
your
that I don't know if
it's
I
like
read that somewhere or I made it up that
yeah.
uh, people who write um, self psychoanalyzing and doing therapy on themselves
Sure,
via
right?
the medium of writing. Yes.
Yeah.
So and therapy is like your own little. It's you. It doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally it's all you. And so if you have someone who's telling you like it's okay if you write and you realize you don't like it anymore, you don't, yeah, and then you move away from that and you do. It's okay. But the thing is, this things there wasn't a safe space where creatives could actually come through and be and talk about these things because usually when you try to talk to a non-creative person or someone who's more linear in their thinking, they'll be just like, no, why are you wasting your time on this? And this is how we got to create even a community of a tribe of content creators. And now there's Afro bloggers on the internet, and that's a tribe which we started, we helped build, and people are connecting over that, and it's got people from all over the continent. So that story, that initial story about starting and finding your way, you find that that story is not even just unique to me. I was talking to people in someone in Uganda. I was like, yeah, I actually You guys had high five? We asked too. Like, of course, it was global. We all had that. Yeah,
Amazing.
MySpace. Like, well, MySpace was slightly before our time, but we just
Yeah.
heard there was a MySpace. I don't know MySpace. When I got onto the net, MySpace had kind of died down. But there are people who were like, yeah, we used to do MySpace and we did this and we did that. And when we started this whole blogging, um, trying to connect with other people, other Zimbabweans. I think I used to know like only 5 Zimbabweans who were bloggers, who had blogs. And it was very hard to find them here on Google, trying to write Zimbabwean blogger search.
Yeah. Oh
And
my
see what the internet brings up. And that's also the other thing that you realize that, you're searching for stuff on the internet. And would you think posted that stuff up on the internet? So if you want to find something on the internet and it's not there, maybe you should be the one to what?
Yeah. Right?
To bring in that perspective of yours. When you find the answer of the things you're looking for, then you put it in perspective. That's
Yeah.
even how I come up with some of the content for my blog. That most of the content it's stuff which either I found it amusing, I learned a new word and some nuances to this word. I'm like, okay. Then I'll do an article on that and explain it. And then other people, obviously, there's someone else who's there who's thinking, so what is that smell for when it's about to rain, when it rains for the first time and you want to eat the sand? It's like petioka, right? Like, wow, that's a cool word. And then I write an article about that. Like, did you know it actually has a word? And the people who know this, the smell, right? But you know it's got a name.
Yeah.
Wow. So then you write that, and then you've done that. Someone else is going to now be in that position and look for that answer. They're going to find it.
Mm.
And the crazy thing is, like here, right? Sadza. You Google recipe for sadza, and you're going to find. At least now the internet has kind of progressed. People are sort of taking this back. But sometime back, there's a time when you Google the recipe for sadza, you're going to find the recipe you got was created by some Texan at some university into
Yeah.
culinary arts, and they're showcasing indigenous foods from around the world, and then they're a culinary expert, right?
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, from some university over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is the person who's giving you the recipe for something. Wait, we grew up cooking this stuff.
Yeah.
We've been having this, and
Yeah.
why is the person who's giving the recipe on the internet someone from there when we should be telling our own stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, okay, let's own these things. Let's
Wait,
post
so
up this
did
stuff.
that actually happen?
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that's funny.
So Ivan, you used to use that as an example when you're telling people now, like, yeah. So we take the internet for granted. I mean, you say that you can learn so much from the internet. It's got all this information, but have you also put up something on the internet? Early on, we're talking about how to tie up the bow tie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you guys already have this content for how to do that, but you do it like this is something people need to learn to do, and then you post it up, and it's now out there. They're just searching for something. I cannot find this thing. Well, when you do find it, put it up there because obviously you're not a unique snowflake. The problem
Yeah.
that you have, that thing you're looking for, you're not the only person who's going to look for it. Someone is also going
Yeah.
to be in that same exact position.
That's great. So so when did you start? You mentioned like the opera blogs. Was that the first time you wrote a blog, or was the Facebook notes kind of like your first posting?
I think the Facebook notes counts as my first blog.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's where actually, yeah, my first digital content was on Facebook notes.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
when I moved to the Opera mini blogs, some of the stuff I was putting there, I was just copying and pasting
Mm,
writing it from my Facebook notes because
yeah,
I was like, okay, I think this is not for the general populace. This is more for the strangers on the internet than my family.
amazing. So I guess that's an interesting jump also because a lot of people just stayed on social media. They didn't make that jump. Well, I guess there's a lot of people who started on blogging and stayed on blogging, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
people who like went on social media and then just stayed on social media. They didn't make the switch across to blogging. what was like what pulled you? You might have said this a bit already, but like what kind of pulled you from, I guess it was the thing of just sharing stuff that you just wanted to share and not get questioned about it. Oh.
I think, yeah, I wanted to share and not get asked about it
Yeah,
because I think in human nature, we always want to find meaning and relativity out of
yeah,
any anything that we see. You know, when you talk to even authors, published authors, you open their book and it says the first thing it's saying on the first page is that this is a work of fiction.
yeah.
Any relation or similarity to real events, real people, is purely coincidental, right? And this is in a sci-fi book. I love Afro fantasy. So that's the genre I like. So this is a book which is set in some place not on this planet, with beings which are not us. There's some light beings on stars, and they are there doing the weird intergalactic space stuff, right? But when I read this book, I'm going to be like, this person is this a president of a certain country? Because this intergalactic dictator is giving vibes of some president I know from history, right? Is
Yeah,
there any? But the person, like, this is a purely work of art. Like you see, we try to find this meaning and
yeah,
these synergies and stuff from any piece of content, even abstract art. You have this thing, this just goes. You look at it, you're like, what does this mean? What are these squiggly green lines? Is that eco-friendly? You're giving a meaning. We always want to have meaning in our
yeah,
creativity, in our art. So, as I was saying that on Facebook and social media, usually you're connecting with people who know you. So when you write a story, like I'm writing about, okay, I write some romantic poem about someone I have amorous feelings about, and they're wild and it's wild. The stars come out and it's the rain calls, and I hear your name whispered in the rain, right? And someone's there by your neck, like, who's this? Because that's not me,
yeah.
right?
No, I heard a song. I heard that song on the radio the other day, and I don't know, like it actually jumped out of me. It's always been there, but I didn't like really listen or appreciate the lyrics. It goes, "You're so vain, you probably think the song is about you,"
You probably think this song is about
right? And
here.
that's how it is.
So people will find that meaning in this little your run. It was just a nice little random comment or statement. I just found it interesting, so I write that be like, yeah, you're built like you do this, and the people were now trying to put names and
Yeah, yeah,
labels to it, and or I'm just inquire like, are you okay? Are you?
yeah,
Is there something bothering? No, I'm actually perfectly fine. I'm super happy. I'm not even. I just wanted to write that only
create, yeah,
like roses grow in the light, right? And only
yeah.
no flower grows in the dark. So you left me in the garden in the dark, and you're surprised all the flowers died. And then people are up in arms asking what you mean by that.
Yeah, yeah, that's huh. So, what year was that when you got into the blogging, like on Opera blogs? Can you remember what year that was?
uh, Around 2010, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I
2009.
remember the reason I ask. I remember I had a teacher. Uh, so I was on like the school newspaper in high school, and had like this teacher who kind of like was the supervisor. And I was the editor, and he was like, the one day he just told me, he's like, we shouldn't even be doing these newspaper printed things. We should be doing blogs. That's the new thing. And this was probably like 2007, 2008. He was like, blogging is the new thing. And I like look back, like if I had just run with that, but I probably didn't have the internet access, so that was probably the
The
block.
internet access.
But like if I had had that, like I could be living a completely different life. Like because I haven't. I looked at blogs again, like maybe 10 years later. But by then I was like so kind of ingrained in social media that like blogging. I didn't have that same, yeah, I didn't need it as much as you did, I guess. But it's really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how you got there. Because I suppose in my own journey of like posting stuff online, that's maybe been the reason why I like moved into doing stuff on Instagram. I just posted on, I didn't really connect with people on Instagram. I just started posting there. Uh, and I think I posted less on Facebook of that same thing. I've just been like kind of worried what, not worried, but just like you just want to post. You don't want to like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a thing which would happen, and you're like, yeah. So there's some stuff you're like, yeah, you can't just keep posting
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And Twitter even more for me, I think, is that like there's like I don't know, I'm connected with very few friends on Twitter. But it's
Well,
well,
Twitter is
X.
oh, X. It's now called X. The
Yeah,
platform formerly known as Twitter. I
yeah,
don't. We'll
yeah,
always call it Twitter.
yeah.
As old guard would call it Twitter. I discovered because when I moved to blogging, um, I realized that still to get my audience, to get an audience and to connect with other people, I still needed social media.
Mm,
So you can never fully run away from the social
yeah,
media aspect.
interesting.
Because yeah, once you start posting on the blog, you're going to realize you still need your content to be posted on social media to be found. So initially I was like, no, but I can't go to Facebook because I'd be giving the content to the people I run away from. It's like running away from home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like, no, I cannot be telling people I ran away from that. Here's where I am now because they'll definitely show up. So I went to X because I
okay.
didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anyone there. So I could also, and again, on X, you just go into a username and you could just pick anything. You don't have to associate it with who you actually are.
Yeah,
So you can just put a handle and just go with get an image from the internet and post that up. That's me. And just use that to push up the traffic and to share your content and to connect with people who are also doing whatever they're doing. And like I also do book reviews, I think. I do book reviews and movie reviews. So when I review my book and then I'm there, I'm going to Twitter as well to check who else reviewed this book and what are they thinking about, or maybe who else just read the book. So yeah, they're looking at the book that you read and you're asking, okay, oh, what do you think about this book? Because I wrote a review. Here it is. You can check it out. And then this is how you get someone to go into your site. And, oh, actually, everything that you wrote there, I agree with it. Oh, you're totally lying. I love the book. You hate the book. But you see, a conversation starts going like, what else have you read? And you're having back and forth. And suddenly you're also creating another community of people who around a certain book, around certain conversations. Everyone who hated this book, please come on this comment.
yeah.
And then like, I think this was a brilliant book. Who else agrees? In fact, I'm not agreeing, and you're having this intellectual conversation, and suddenly, yeah, you have an online community going on, and people coming back, and it moves from, okay, you read the book, okay, you read the Harry Potter books, yeah. Did you watch the movies? What do you think about the movies? I'm like, nah. Only true readers read the books. We read the books first before we watch the movies. Yes, we watch the movies, but we read the books first. And then it's an interesting conversation going on. And we're all there like, yeah, the books are always better than the movie adaptation or the series adaptation. And
Yeah,
funding and the conversation goes on. And but then it's a nice, interesting conversation, which isn't personal, which isn't you don't have to know who these people are. And all you know is like, yeah, okay, you read this book, I read that book, and you're connecting.
yeah.
So you don't have to be like, yeah, you're sharing and everything to be opening up and like, yeah, I have childhood trauma from movies. I know. It doesn't
Yeah,
have, it's not like that. It can be those some of those people can actually be support people and let you unburden because apparently it's
yeah.
easier to unburden to a stranger as well about some of these things. Could actually even give you some interesting advice, which you shouldn't follow or maybe should, or just take at your own discretion because the internet is full of weird
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, Yeah. Huh.
There's some strange people out there.
Yeah, it's really great. Huh. All right, so we've been talking for close to an hour. Do you feel like you're ready to have another go at breaking your record?
All right, let me try and break my record.
All right, let me.
I didn't try to do.
Yeah, that sometimes happens.
This is like, how did you do the thing? You just pull and it comes off. It didn't do
Yeah.
that. Careful.
All right, you're ready.
Let me get my hair. I'm out there terrible spider because my hair gets tangled.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh,
3, 2, 1, go.
what happened there? This one died. Yes.
Tell me when you're ready to wear it to a party. Oh,
Hey.
stop there. Okay. Yeah, that something went wrong there.
Yeah, no, I lost the other end.
Uh yeah, you had a good start. You had a good start. I think for your last one, uh you just stop when you're like when you've tied it. You don't need to put your collar down, and that'll save you some.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll cut some time off there. But okay, that's cool. So you got one more try of the bow tying. So there's a question I ask everyone is how do you define creativity? What does creativity mean to you?
What does creativity mean to me? Wow. I have never had to answer such a question. But creativity as creativity is how you express yourselves. Creativity is how you interpret the world around you and how you make yourself known, seen, and felt. Some people would say that no, the creative is the artist who's out there just drawing. But even someone who's on a computer and they're doing their code, there's a certain creative aspect that goes along with it. Writing seems to be creative enough at a point, but we're all creative beings actually, and how we express what we see, what we feel, and how we make ourselves known, and how our presence gets known to other people. That is how I define creativity.
Mm.
So we now just take this and mix it into whatever we're doing, and we become that's the being of being human beings. That
Yeah,
creativity.
very nice. And I guess for you, like the way you express your creativity, like through your writing, through being, but what are some other examples of like particular things that you do that people might, because I suppose like you say, it's often people think of creativity as like, oh, they do art, so they're creative, or because I think art is like such a low barrier to entry. Like when you're a
Hmm.
kid, you can start scribbling, and then that becomes like the thing that people do. But like you say, it can be expressed. Creativity can happen in so many different ways. So like, but we don't always hear of examples or hear of ways. What are some of the things that you maybe do outside of writing that you think of as creative?
Uh, that's difficult for me to answer because outside of my do not exist.
Okay, so just like
So the writing is the writing is for me. The writing is in every aspect of whatever I do. From when I pick up a book and I'm reading it, I'm also reading it as like, okay, if I was to write my own book, this is what I would not do this. I'll do A, B, and C. Or if I was going to write the review, I'll be doing this. So even when
yeah,
I'm watching a movie, I'll be there watching it, and at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, okay, this is a terrible plot. I like these characters. I like that chemistry. Uh, I'm already doing the review.
yeah,
I'm writing the review in
yeah.
my mind.
You have
So
become the
everything that
muse.
I, every step that everything that I'm looking at, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I see a flower, and I'm thinking, yeah. So, um, if she wanted flowers, I'll give her petals from my heart.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's amazing.
I interface with the world through writing, and it's not just writing. Writing is how I'm not writing for someone to read it. I'm writing to process my thoughts. So
Mm.
it's an analytical process of my thoughts. So I will process the world via the medium of writing. That's why I was saying I cannot separate it from
Yeah,
who I am and
amazing,
what I do. I being a writer is not what I do. Being a writer is who I am.
amazing.
So I write. Even when I'm not actively, I don't have a pen and paper to actually write. In my mind, I look at things and I'm thinking like, how would I write this scene? Okay, I'm using public transport. I'm in the back of this combi. It's full. There's drama going on, and I'm listening to these people talk, and I'm like, yeah, this conversation would be a cool scene to have in a book where someone is in this exact same situation. So I'm listening to people to find out how real people talk. So when I have to write the dialogue for a short story or something, this is that benchmark I'm going to. So sometimes, have you ever read something like, no, people do not talk like this. It's not
yeah,
real.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so when I'm there interacting with the world, I'm also, a part of me is just watching, like, okay, if we were to write this down, how would we describe this? If we were to
Yeah.
make this a story, how would it play out? If um you were to critique this, how would you do it? I was having fun the other day when we went to the National Gallery. Well, I was watching some other projects that were being launched there. And so there was these exhibitions all around, the statues and the stuff, right? So the owner of the creative behind some of the artwork was there, and then this person was asking, what's the story behind this? What does this mean? So I just stood there and like, yeah. So when he did this thing, he was thinking that you see the bold lines here, these represent confidence and courage, and these curvy lines, they represent nature, that nature and feeling, and that's yeah. And he's there nodding his head, like, yeah, what are you saying? That's exactly what I was thinking. Of course, well, we went and laugh about it afterwards. We're like, you know what? Can you write me little cue cards for all the rest of my stuff? So we went through his stuff, and then I was looking at it and helping him write the cue cards for what to say when people ask, like, what does this mean? How am I supposed to feel when I look at this?
Nice.
So I wasn't writing, but that the guy was like, "You're very creative."
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
oh.
yeah. That's great. Huh.
But someone like, how are you getting to this? As I was saying, but for me, it's just from that I guess from the way I approached the writing. The creativity came from reading those books at that early age. It was opening my
Mm,
minds to so much worlds beyond this. And even then, I like fantasy. I like the things which would take us out of this world to read about space and androids out there floating billions and billions of light years. So that you're thinking so outside of you're not outside of the box, you're outside of the planet.
Yeah.
So when you're there taking yourself outside and you're looking at stuff from way outside there, looking in, it does something. Now everything else I approach it from that angle where I'm looking at it from not from just here, but from a bit far away. And then, okay, that's
Yeah.
how's that for creativity?
Yeah. It's amazing. And I mean, it's just amazing that you kind of did this solo. Like, like it's a difficult thing. Being a creative, I think is difficult. Like, just yeah, but doing it,
Yeah,
like feeling that you didn't have anyone kind of encouraging you in that journey is just mind-boggling for me. Like, it's amazing that you have been able to keep at it, and it's so good that you're now giving back uh, to be that person, that kind of mentor or uncle. Uh,
that uncle.
did
Because like, yeah,
at what stage, like, did you have to, or at what point did this become? So we're kind of, let's go back to your journey a bit. Maybe you're like talking about how started you using Facebook, started blogging, kind of to almost run away from posting on Facebook, to have more freedom. And then you made that switch. At what point did you make that switch to having your current blog?
I think around the 2009 is when I was doing the Opera Mini blogs.
Yeah,
But then they also came with this really long handle. The website would be like Opera Mini blogs dot 2020 something something, and then your little name comes. Like it was so messy.
yeah,
So while I was trying to figure out, like, okay, this has been a fun run. I want to get something with my name on it, which is how I ended up on WordPress with Becoming the Muse,
yeah.
which started. I think I got a notification that you've been running Becoming the Muse for 11 years now.
Amazing.
So that journey, yeah. So 11 years back is when I actually officially launched my Becoming the Muse
Yeah,
blog. When I was like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. Well, I didn't, but I think I know it's going to be. I don't know
yeah,
where it's going to go, but it's going to be something.
yeah,
Then I started that, and after a bit, after getting a bit of confidence with it, and I was actually able now to go back to the Facebook and even just share the links, create a Facebook page for it.
yeah,
Although I don't actively use it, I was just like, yeah, the page is now there. When I create an article and I post it, post to the page.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And uh, at one, did you ever have to do like other jobs, or do you still have to do other jobs? How do you like survive as a writer in Zimbabwe?
As a writer in Zimbabwe, it's a
Yeah,
hey, it's an interesting minefield, right? So when you have been creating content long enough and you've sort of built up a name for yourself, there are these opportunities, even just with the blogging, when you take it to a certain level, there are opportunities which will open up as you go along. The people are going to come and they'll be like, okay, someone's like, okay, you're very good at this writing thing. Our company needs to have a company profile done. Can you write something like that? Hey, I haven't done that, but I think I can.
amazing.
I'll give it a go. Give me your points and I'll do something. Then you take it and you do it. And because when you're doing also the blog, right, basics of doing a blog, right? It's basically like running your own publishing agency, and you are the writer, you are the graphic designer, you're the social media manager, you're the marketing specialist, and you're the number one reader and the editor and the critique guy, and you're the boss of everything. So these are the roles you have to do by yourself. Some people, of course, have they run their blogs like as a team, as things, or even like a proper magazine. But if you're just out there doing it by yourself, you end up having to do all these multiple roles and multiple things. And you need to kind of be good at some of these things for this to work. You don't just write the content, press send, and you sit. You have to push it along. You have to do this. You have to make cool graphics. You have to put photos with what's it called? Informational bars, infographics, all those things. And you have to go to Pinterest and learn how to navigate those. So you'll find that you end up with all these skill sets where someone who needs help with their social media, you're like, yeah, well, I grew my social media presence for my blog. I'm sure I can do something for your business, which has 3 followers on the platform formerly known as Twitter. I'm sure I can share with my friends. I'm like, please follow this page, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you find people are now like, yeah, this is great. Wait, you know what? Actually, I can do a review for your product, give you nice value, and I'll tell people what I think about this, and people are going to it's actually a full informative advert, and we charge money for that. One can charge money from that, and and this is how you're learning some of these things as you're going like, yeah, so I can actually charge money from that. Oh,
Yeah.
you're an upcoming writer and your book is coming up soon. Fine, give it to me and I'll be your beta reader and I'll do you your initial synopsis and help you with your blurb and help you do the book tour as we manage your cover art coming out in those things. And yeah, so let's talk money. And you find yourself you're already surrounded in this bookish community. You're out there supporting the creatives who write and the books and that book journey. And the more you're doing it, the more people, hey, how did you? And this guy, he actually did me the solid. And you're there, you're reviewing the books, which you love to do, but you're also helping these other people with their creativity going on. And someone is like, hey, we have a restaurant out here. Can you come eat here and then do a little review for food? Like, sure.
So good.
Free food. Who am I to trade down free food? Like, yeah, we'll pay you. I'll get free food and you're going to pay me.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're living the dream, man. It's great.
So these things will come up like, okay, wow, okay, I'll take that. So some of that comes up. So I do social media management. I do social media campaigns. I write. I ghost write. I review. Some of them are paid reviews, sponsored reviews. Some of them are just for the fun of it. And so somewhere along that line, there's money is just coming through, and there's some adverts which run on my side that trickles in a couple of cents. It's not much, but it keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
And when this all adds up, hey, one survives. Like, yeah, so when someone's asking me, so what do you do besides the writing? I'm like, no. Do you ever look at a doctor and you say, when you're not treating people, what do you do?
Yeah.
No, you never ask a doctor what he does when he's not treating people. So I want people to recognize me as passionate about what I do, just as the doctor, where you don't ask me like when you're done writing,
Yeah.
what else do you do? How do you? No. I'm never done. I'm always
Yeah.
I'm always doing. I am.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. So
So
I find so just balancing that, so the social media management, the writing, the ghost writing, the script writing, um, and of course I find that my social media has over the years it's actually kind of grown. I have a decent following, like on X I think I've got like 16, 17,000 following. That in some books that counts as influencer level type numbers. So you'll have people who come through with their campaigns and be like, yeah, so hey, can you post an advert for us? We'll
yeah.
pay. Oh, you people. And I didn't ask them. They came to me like, yeah, so
Yeah.
we want to. And then these opportunities, once it starts and you're reaching these certain levels, you're not even out there trying to find ways of monetizing. The things are coming to you, and you're the one who's like, no, for you guys, I don't think our creative vision matches. So I'm sorry. If I'm the one who's sending those emails, and I regret to inform you, me. I'm the one who's sending the email to say, no, no, no. Yeah, our creative vision does not align. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. At this time, my timetable is kind of swamped.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'd really love to. I'll have my people look at my schedule, and they will get back to you when when we're free. And people like, and that's the thing. You realize this as you're going, right? That people, they think that they want to work with the institution. Someone with, if I tell you like, no, 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 I'm busy, so no. Yes, the PA team will get back to you when they'll look at my schedule, and they'll arrange for a suitable time, for such a time when our timetables and our schedules coincide. Thank you very much for your time. Please, yeah, please stay subscribed and click on the subscribe button at the bottom of this message.
That is amazing.
And yeah, the longer it runs, the better it gets. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the point where you've got like 100,000 followers or something, that might be a completely, it's gonna be a different beast. Like,
that'll be totally different. Yeah.
yeah. So,
So yeah, one creatively pays the rent through the writing pays the rent. Sometimes not directly writing on my blog, but it's the showcase. People reach out to me, and I find ways to help them. And I even do now, as I said, you end up having to do even graphics. So you find someone's like, "Yep, can you design this little logo thing for me?" Well,
yeah,
it's not my forte, but I can.
yeah,
Can make a
yeah.
flyer. Yeah. Well, I make flyers all the time for my blog. So yeah, I can try and I can try and do this. I can, like, you know how I think the Zimbabwean spirit was, if someone asks if they're willing to pay, like, you do this, like, I yeah.
Say
Can you
yes
tie a bow
first.
tie?
Say yes first, and then figure it out later.
Can you tie a bow tie? Like, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I'll have to tie a bow tie on the podcast. Yeah, sure, no problem. I can do.
Perfect. I love it. Oh man, so good. So what have been like some of the, I guess, like big challenges for you?
Big challenges.
Like really
Challenge
related
number one.
to being related to being like a creative, like
All right, at challenge number one, I think we sort of touched this. You're always saying that the creative field isn't the most um, respected. I give the example of the doctor, where, if you're a doctor, everyone's like, "Oh wow, that's the doctor." But if you're an engineer, yeah, I think, yeah, engineer, that's kind of cool. What do you do? I'm a writer. Okay. Why didn't you do something more?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's good, but you could have. I'll go back and say that I was a straight A student back in school. I was a straight A student. I got like all A's everywhere.
Yeah.
That was interesting. And when you have that report card, it's just got A's. People want you to do the road to go is to go do sciences.
Yeah.
That's
Like doctor engineering.
doctor engineering, like, that thing. Like, yeah, that's what one does, or maybe law even. So yeah, the pressure to be like, no, you could do all these things because this, and then people try and get you to go a certain path, do certain
Mhm.
things, and it's very hard to get out of that zone where people are like, yo, why don't you do this? People really want to be in on other people's business. And the creative spectre isn't, like, as I said, it's not the most respected. At least now I think the upcoming generation, and thanks to the internet and all of this, the creative spectre has been rising, and there's been these drives to boost up the creative sectors. You're finding there are grants rolling around, there are opportunities. you have these institutions coming up and they're supporting the creative sectors and they're saying all these nice big buzzwords about the creativity and being the new innovation. It's not a thing, right? Even
It's like
corporates
creativity
are now doing
podcasts.
exactly. Corporates are doing this CSR and out there like, yeah, the creativity. We're grooming this young talent. We're now in a cool position where people realize that we don't all have to be doctors and scientists. There are other people who also make the world go round in their own type of way. So yeah, that was one of those challenges where I was saying like that someone would be grilling you like, no, you should do this. Hey, you know what? Here's some adverts I've circled some jobs which you can try and apply to. Maybe you should try temporary teaching. I mean, you're always there, just not doing anything. You're not working, so you're always home. Like, okay, I'm actually working.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone's like, yeah, the Chicken Inn is hiring some people, so yeah, in case I don't know if you're looking for a job or not, but I just yeah, if you send me
yeah.
your CV,
So do
and
you
then
think like that gave you like self-doubt kind of thing?
yeah, that gave that was as I said, yeah, that was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, yeah,
And then for you to actually then and that's the thing. Without you also need to have results. You have this pressure to show results where you're like, you see, this is actually what I do. This is and you have numbers and
yeah,
you're putting food on the table. You're like, yeah, so oh, about that job you're saying I should take. How much should I do? Oh, $300. Well, I just made $300 right there.
yeah,
So even if I don't work for the next month, I made enough money as I'd have made without doing the job you wanted to make. So
yeah.
I just made salary. So that's cool. Yep. Like
Yeah, it must
these
feel
three
great to get to that position. It must feel like
yes,
that
it's
kind of
very
eliminates those doubts, right?
and then now yeah, but now you're able when you have that backing and you have these solid things behind you which are showing like guys, you see, um this is who I am, this is what I do. I think like just recently I was mentoring a crop of content creators somewhere, and then a flyer was going up on social medias, and people are now reaching out like, "Wow, we've always been supporting you. We knew you'd do great things. We were a genius back in school." And now you say that. Actually, I recall a conversation when you were like, "You should you should do something different."
Yeah,
So yeah, when you get to that point where you've done some things which show what to do, you're like, yeah, so that's my socials, that's my blog, and then they're looking at it and it's got these hits and views and it's all huge and but it didn't happen overnight. No, it did
yeah,
not. Now I make it seem like it's easy, like yeah, no, you just do this, but it's been a rough and wild journey and I doubted it. I doubted myself. I was asking myself, what am I even doing? Uh,
yeah,
but here I am, and now I'm like, yeah, cool, cool, cool. I'll even say like, yeah, in some fields I'm an expert at this thing,
yeah.
and I'll be having talks and chats with people.
That's great.
You're like, yeah,
Huh, very cool. What were some any other kind of big challenges?
and challenges. So okay, the number one thing was people not just realizing the creativity of it, and then there is, of course, in Zimbabwe, the internet is super expensive and
Yeah,
half of the 90% of being a blogger is so much online. Um, it's like not being able to. Someone was asking, like, no, the internet is just this thing. But you're like, no, it's like not being able to afford to go to work. And when you don't go to work with the commuter fare, when you don't have the commuter fare and you cannot go to work, you cannot
yeah,
make money.
yeah.
So for the longest time, like the internet here has been super expensive and the bundles, the all of that. That's been wild trying to get up the. I actually mentioned earlier about how there was a time when I was offline for quite a bit, and someone came through like, "Why are you so? We haven't seen you in the space." And I was like, "No, I don't have internet. You cannot afford to pay for the internet." And someone's like, okay, fine. I'll until you get back on your feet or you have something solid going on, every month I'll actually pay your internet bill.
Yeah, it's like a lifeline right there.
That like, and then once you're there on the internet, you can start into there trying to do other things, cooking up these things, doing other courses. Okay, let me do a photography course, a videography course, a podcasting course.
Yeah,
And then you're also upskilling because you have the net, and then
yeah.
you have more skills and you've got more value and the other things you can now do.
I guess related to that, what are some of the things that are so now I think you talked about it the other day in one of your articles, the Starlink effect. What are you kind of excited about
This Starlink
the
effect.
arrival of Starlink and just
Yes.
more internet access in general? What
Um,
opportunities do you think that's going to bring for Zimbabweans?
I'd say that the internet here has been super expensive. It was very pricey. And then in comes a Starlink, which like currently since it charges the monthly subscription, there's one for like $50 and there's another one for $30 for unlimited internet. Now for those kinds of prices, before Starlink, there was no other package you could get which would be anywhere near that. You'd be probably paying times for that to get unlimited internet. And for the general person, this internet was just hard to come by. So there were not that many people. And it was even reflected in my content when I would post up my content. There's this analytics bar which shows where people who go through your website come from, the devices they use. And I find that for the longest of time, I would have like 80-90% of my traffic coming from outside the continent of Africa. Even though the content is super Afrocentric, it's supposed to be for us. Because I'm writing about why is Africa even called Africa, you know? And the person who's supposed to be looking at this is us. But you're realizing that we're not. You go into a WhatsApp group and you're sending your link. Like, I wrote this article, I was researching into why Africa is called Africa because that name in any of the African languages, the term Africa isn't an African language name. So where did we get this name? It's not Swahili. It's not any of the Bantu, Nguni languages. It's none of those. So where did we get it? So I was doing some research, I was trying to find where we got the name. I was like, this is fascinating. I want people to comment on this, to tell me their thoughts. I post up in the groups. You go on WhatsApp and then you post the link like, guys, check out this article. Tell me what you think. We do not have data. Can you take screenshots of that article? Can you bring them here? You want people to consume the content, but they cannot because they don't have the internet to go on the internet. They don't have the bundles. Here, I think WhatsApp became this. For most people, WhatsApp is the default internet. So if you want people to read your stuff on WhatsApp, they have to copy and paste it there or take screenshots of the content and then put it there. But then that way it doesn't, even though there are people who are consuming the content on WhatsApp, it's not sure. You don't get the demographics for how many people. Okay, there's a group of 250 people who've read this article, who've read the message which I sent them on WhatsApp, but it doesn't reflect on the blog. The blog just shows like, yeah, you get 80-90% traffic outside of the content. And this is the reason people don't have the internet. Now, the Starlink effect is that since Starlink has come, it's got approved just end of September, right? With the $50 package. As soon as it got approved, all the other service providers right now, they're coming through with packages which rival the Starlink price, and unlimited packages are coming up. You have a $45 package from Econet called Smart Biz. That one is the speed isn't as fast, it's about 5 Mbps, but still, that's a bargain. That thing was earlier on when they introduced this package, it cost $70.
Yeah.
But when Starlink was being, Starlink is coming, this package has gone to $45. So why did it go down? Why was it so expensive in the first place? So that's the Starlink effect. That the other day, people from PowerTel were talking about how, yeah, we can match Starlink packages and Starlink speeds. They now have an unlimited package going for like $30 or something like that. And people are like, if you were able to match the speeds and match the price, why have we been paying $100 for this pack? Now it's suddenly $30. Like, yeah, we can compete with Starlink and we're just as fast and just as good and just as affordable. But why weren't you affordable before? Anyway, we're happy that you're affordable now. And
Yeah.
everyone is now falling into line and they're becoming affordable, which is great for everybody. Now, the more people go online, the more we're able to tap into our digital space. And I feel that I'm also, well, as more people come online, I feel I'm going to come into that era where I'll be definitely be pushing people like, yeah, okay, you were not blogging and doing all these things because the internet was hard. But now that we're having internet, I'll definitely be encouraging more people to be content creators. When I talk about blogging, I don't even mean having the website and you're writing there, but I just mean all this online content creation. I think I touched on this earlier when I was saying that our content is not on the internet. These, our old school indigenous knowledge, it kind of died somewhere along the way. Our folk tales, they're dying out. You realize, okay, I'm the old, I'm the elder in the family
Yeah,
now,
you're the
and
custodian of those stories, right? Yeah.
I'm the one who's supposed to know these things.
Yeah.
So we need to use the internet to get the stuff rolling.
Mm.
So yeah, now the internet is becoming accessible. So what this means is we're going to be posting up more content. We're also going to be consuming more of this content. I'm sure you're going to find we're going to have so many TikTokers, YouTubers, and all of this coming up right now
Mm.
because so and not just for the content creation, even e-commerce. Our e-commerce business hasn't been working that much. COVID had its challenges and was a very terrible thing in most aspects, but it opened our eyes to the possibilities of working from home where people are realizing, you know, there's some jobs where you do not need to go to you don't need to go to the office to use a laptop, which you can just use in your house.
Mm.
Because of COVID, because of lockdown, people now were working from home and you realizing how some of these things we just do them from home and just work from home. But of course, again, that internet challenge. But if everyone has affordable, accessible, reliable internet, you'll work at home, you'll do remote work, you're applying for these opportunities to do all these freelance gigs, um, and figure out even the blogging. Yeah, you want to be like me and figure out how do you make blogging work and
Yeah.
take it from there and see what happens. But having that internet, it's going to drive a new internet-based service providers are coming up, and that's going to be the new big thing. With our e-commerce is definitely going to be taken up. So yeah.
It's exciting. Yeah. We've got the two pieces. They've got the internet finally, and they've got you to encourage them. So there's
Yes.
no excuses
I'm there like,
for the
yeah,
content creators.
before I wanted to push, but now that like the internet is there,
Yeah.
if it means even having the initiatives where you're like, okay, let's put a Starlink up in this place. You all come through with your devices, your laptops, your whatnots, and let me take you through this.
That's
You know
cool.
how they do those startup spaces where people
Yes, yes.
usually
I thought of that actually. I'd be like, it'd be cool to just be like, here's free internet for you. Like, put up a
use free
Starlink.
come by here and you'll
There
get
you go.
internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got zero excuses now.
So you can setting up those sort of initiatives. Like, yeah, yes, we have internet on tap. Let's see what we can do. Let's roll.
Yeah,
Let's go.
that's
But
very
what do you have the internet? What else can you do? Or just look up your scholarship opportunities. You want to study abroad. You want to do this. So
that's
sometimes some of those things people are just being held back because they don't
yeah,
have access to information. But the information is there on the internet,
yeah, yeah.
but you
No,
just didn't have the net to access it. And also, as custodians of our stories and our culture, we might as well take that opportunity to make sure we were there on the internet when someone is searching for us. Like, okay, this is where we are. This is who we are. because we really are losing ourselves, and as we lose those little bits of where we came from, how we know who we are and where we're going. And I feel that that internet is that little bridge to preserve what we become. That's actually one of the other reasons why I started my blog. You know how those um the stone paintings, the rock art, cave art, by people from way back. We sort of figure out their lives by looking at those paintings, and you see them hold. You see this man with a spear, and okay, so they were hunting, yeah.
Yeah. That
I
much we
guess yeah,
know. Yeah.
they were hunters. That's why they, yeah, they did a painting holding a spear and chasing some game. You know, they were hunters. As the technology progresses and life goes on, I am fairly sure that at some point someone is going to be coming up and looking at all the stuff that we will have populated on the internet and be like, oh, so these guys back in 2024, this is what oh, how cute they thought they must have been
Yeah.
super civilized, yeah.
It's awesome. It's
But the
awesome.
world will actually be learning how maybe we probably killed the world with the stuff we're doing now.
Yeah.
However, the world turns out, people will be actually looking at this as the archives, as the story of what we did. We'll be like, oh, so we depleted all our resources using AI. Did you ever see this thing about how it takes, there was this demo that for AI to write like a sentence, it uses the equivalent of 1 cup of water.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen that, but I'm not surprised.
So you're like, wow, this thing, everyone's going crazy with the whole chat GPT and all these AI chatbots and all of these things. But that computing power and the servers get very hot. I think some of that could be contributing to some of the problems that we have. And this is happening to us. We're not aware of the impact of some of the stuff that we're doing. But when it all boils up later on, someone is going to be coming back and be like, but you guys, you actually, didn't you not see what you were doing? And this history will now be in the content that we're creating now.
Yeah.
Unwittingly, we are actually recording
Yeah.
something for the future.
It's good. And like, yeah, I'm excited for when there are more people doing, because if people do it in Zimbabwe, it's gonna be like not the same as you, but like what you're doing is uniquely Zimbabwean kind of thing. And so like just having more Beatons, but it won't be more Beatons, but like more unique stories, right? And it's just
More
like,
unique stories, yes, because every when someone's like, but you're already doing it, I'm like, no, I'm telling the stories from my perspective, the way I see it. All our stories are different and they all matter and they all need to be out there. We need to reclaim that our digital narrative, shall I say. We need to be in control of it. Otherwise, there's someone else who's out there telling you what they think about what you're doing,
yeah,
and it's not yours. And yeah, you lose your story. So if we
yeah.
have more of us, more people stepping up. And
And
I definitely think people are definitely going to be stepping up. Speaking about the Starlink access to the internet, I think there was a report that the DHL offices in Harare are actually packed up right now. They cannot handle the number of Starlink kits that are being ordered. And if you
yeah.
try to order a Starlink kit for Harare use right now, you're going to be told that Harare is at capacity. I don't know how many units one has to buy, but
Yeah.
for a place to be, I don't know. I'm really curious. I hope that information could be like a Google search away. If I actually find it, I'll write an article about it to say that
Yeah.
people are like, no, Starlink is expensive. It will be just for the super rich or something like that. But we have reached capacity in Harare. Starlink has been officially available for less than 3 weeks, and people have ordered those things and they've reached capacity. I don't know how many units it takes for capacity to be reached, but it
Yeah.
shows that there is a growing demand. There's a huge demand for that service. There's a huge demand for that affordable internet,
Amazing.
and it's coming and it's here.
Yeah.
definitely in the next, we're going to notice that impact of that content starting to pop up like in the next month. Because right now these kids, it's less than 3 weeks. Um, some are just barely arriving. People are getting used to it, and people are realizing, wow, we have the power of the internet on our hands.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting times, scary times as well, because with great internet comes great responsibility. There's also going to be there's a flip side of that coin where a lot of misinformation is going to go around, a lot
Mm.
of cyberbullying and those things. Because again, when you give a man a mask, he will do anything.
Yeah.
That internet gives that, but I'm positive, so I prefer to focus on the positives that are going to arise, the new businesses that are going to come up, the new opportunities, and the preservation of our cult, our stories, rather. Yeah, the preservation and the continuation and the curation of our stories.
Awesome. It's going to be interesting times to come. Right,
Scary
Beaton?
times,
Yeah.
scary too, scary too. That
Yeah.
scary element is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
scared a little bit.
That's why I
There's some
guess it's
people.
important for us, like good people. I mean, we're not, yeah, just like people to contribute as positively as possible, and
Mm.
like you say, help control the narrative.
To help control the narrative, and you need to have the good people out there to help show the way,
Yeah.
and just let it take over, because it will become an unruly creation.
Yeah. Yeah. Our shadow selves. We don't want to keep that mask can be risky. All right, that seems like a good place to stop talking. That was really good. Let's give you one more chance at tying your bow tie.
Let me see.
Okay,
Okay.
ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Missed the thing. I missed the loop at the back.
That loop. Boom. Oh my gosh. So that was faster than your first time.
Wow, how is that faster than the last time when I missed
Yeah,
the loop?
and you stopped and fixed it. Like, oh my word, the potential. We'll have to like come back on again. I don't know, year or two down the line and give you another chance, because that was amazing. Right, let's see. I'm gonna put your times in here. I'm gonna share my screen also. All right, so the first time was 41, 51. Wait, come on. 55.85 is the second one. And then that one was 38.07. So that was your fastest. Man, I think you could have got like sub 20. You're so quick. Ah. So where does that put you? 38.07. Oh, that puts you in second. No, my maths is out the window. Third. That puts you in third.
third, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. That's so good. Well done, Beaton. That was really
No,
good.
not bad at all.
Third place is a good place to be.
Considering, yeah, I wasn't born doing bow ties. I'm used to the clip-on ones. This has been, I'm glad that it's been an experience learning how to tie the bow tie, and so
Yeah,
yeah, brilliant.
yeah. So it's good learning something new, right? Like you kind
Mm,
you've been good at
it,
it because you're doing your own. Like you say, you had to do all the different bits of your business, so it's like kept that learning thing there. I feel like we
yeah.
lose it a bit when we like leave school. That's great.
But yeah, I guess that's what you also have to, if you when you get used to just learning stuff, and okay, so how do I do it? What do I do next? I mean, what's up?
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Beaton, do you have you written any books?
Work in progress.
Okay, okay,
What I wanted to do, this is a spoiler. um, I write short stories and have some short stories which have been published in some anthologies.
okay,
Yeah. And but I have a couple of short stories which I've been writing over the course of time. I was just writing them randomly, just random scenes, like random characters, random events. And suddenly now when I was going through them, I realized that they are not as random as they seem.
hmm,
There's a common thread.
yeah,
So now I'm redoing them to make all of the short stories not be short stories, but be a grand narrative for something. I don't know what it is yet, but all of the short stories are ending up becoming like some multiverse story,
interesting.
which
Yeah,
has been work in progress for the past 10 years. So all of the short stories. I like reading short stories, but I don't know if you've done if you read short stories, but some of them are really there's a formula for doing the short stories where I don't know if whoever came up with the formulaic way where they say that it has to end on this thing.
like cliffhanger. Yeah,
You read it and then just like and then yeah, then
yeah,
this thing gets to then it ends. You flip the page if it's an anthology. You flip the page and then you open it. Another one. Yeah, so it was a quiet day and then you go through that and then it builds up and then it all comes together and then
it's the same people who
yeah.
write series. It's the same people who are writers for series. Like,
So it was also cool in its own way, and it's short bite-sized reads. But sometimes you'll be like, I'm always left wondering, like, but how would that story have gone on? What would have happened? How if those characters had gotten more life?
yeah,
So the short stories which I've also written, I also would be when I revisit them, I look at them thinking, huh, how would this go on? What would happen? How would this impact the spaces around these short stories? So each of these is now realizing some of the common elements, the common themes, the common aspect characters. Some of the characters are the same. They didn't have names when I was writing them. Just like he did this and then he came back and then he saw and suddenly he opened the door and there was no outside, right?
yeah.
And yeah. And I'm like, well, who is he? Maybe it's that same guy who starts there and comes from space.
Mm, okay.
So now I'm just fusing all of these together to have something that doesn't make sense but makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
And it neatly ties everything into a bow. And you're
that's
like,
fun.
yes,
Very fun.
that's what this is. So that's what the book which I'm working on
Cool, cool.
is about. So I realized I've been working on it before I realized I was working on it.
Yeah, I
And
think that's what
then later
happens.
on,
I feel like that's a common thing.
so I was
Like
like, yeah,
especially, yeah,
instead of fleshing out one idea into the story, I was like, no, but all of these ideas, they're all ideas which have always been a part of me, which I want to further explore. And so let's all gel them together
yeah,
and see what they give. So that will be that book. So it's a genre blaring book because I like fantasy and sci-fi and Afrofuturism. So there'll be a lot of that. And
Yeah.
the tag phrase on my blog, one of the catchphrases I write on my blog is that I write about the beauty and the chaos of the place I call home as I celebrate the magic and the beauty of my ancestry.
Mm.
So aspects of that will definitely be to honor that oral tradition where those stories we used to be told, those fables, those about those people way back when once upon a time, there's elements of that and coming
Mm.
into this space and time and probably into a time afterwards, which we cannot imagine.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
great.
it's
I look forward to reading it. So,
just a crazy ride. And again, as I was saying that um when you explore things and then you're looking at something and you're wondering why is it not there, be the one to do it. I was
mm,
saying that I have this liking for the fantasy because I loved fantasy and most of the fantasy reads, you're reading there by people out there. These guys can write about, um, let's say, case in point, Harry Potter, right?
yeah.
The globally accepted book. You're going to Hogwarts School of Wizardry and Witches, right? And yeah, we read this and we laugh about it. But if I were to do like a rendition, let's say, um, Tapiwa going to a school of Wengezeroshi, school ye mishonga nevarairidzi nechichi. Uh,
Yeah.
I would get these side eyes like, what manner of witchcraft are you promoting?
Yeah, but why not? Why not?
Exactly, but why not?
Yeah.
We're not doing it, and then so it becomes this thing because since no one is doing it, it's not right. I don't know, we just hesitant about it,
Yeah.
and so we don't. And then the few that would do, some do, and they're excelling at it. But we need more of that kind of setup coming up, those kind of people. And I want to also have my voice in there and put in my 2 cents. So like, yes, I like the fantasy, and so I'm also doing my own fantasy, which is that Zimbabwean twist. That is, we'll have our own version of the way we have our mermaids. We have these mermaids, like
Yeah.
yeah, we have our mermaids, we have our mountains where you go into and you disappear if you take one wrong step, and the mermaids take you, and your people cry, you'll never be found again. We have this. So we can spin this around and be taken to the depths of the Inyangani and see, actually explore from my creative take what I think happens when you go there. Maybe you enter a time dimensional portal and you go to another
Yeah.
dimension, another world. But we've never been free to play around with this idea, to talk about it, to create around that idea. So that's also what I want. I want to see those kind of stories, so I'm going to read that story which I want. I'm going to write
Yeah.
that story I
Yeah.
want to read.
Yeah. Yeah. Like sometimes I think with the stuff, I'm like, just do it. And then because you've done it, I feel like if I fail miserably at starting like a bow tie business, if I like inspire someone else to do something better than me, I've also like I haven't failed at all. Like in some ways, like by telling that story first, you allow so many other people to do it because you just
Mm.
open the floodgates to other people telling
Because
that.
you've done it, and then yeah, if someone can do it better, like hey,
Yeah.
I was working with no guideline. I did it first. I did ground break.
Yeah.
Then for the other people, you see where I failed, and you can take
Yeah.
it better, make it
But it's
better,
like
fix it
failed
up.
in inverted commas, right? Because you haven't failed because you did it, and like
Because you did it. You did
that's
it. It wasn't there before you did it. It wasn't there. You did
yeah,
it, and you
yeah,
put it out there.
yeah. So it's good. It's amazing. Beaton, I see you don't have your surname displayed very often online. Should I add your surname to this list, to this leaderboard, or are you just happy to go as Beaton?
I'm happy to go as Beaton.
Okay.
Oh, as I was saying, I have while I've actually embraced my name, I like a degree of anonymity.
Yeah, yeah.
That yeah.
Yeah, that's something we can explore more in another conversation, I think. Interesting.
So as I'm opening up to the world and to stuff, I like there's only certain parts which you don't see. You'd think you have seen all of me, but no,
Yeah,
it's only the parts which I let
that's
people
good.
see.
I like
I
that.
prefer. I don't like it in full.
Cool. On that mysterious cliffhanger.
On that mysterious note,
Yeah. I'll call an end to this call. It's been really good, Beaton. Thank
no,
you.
it's been
Thanks for
fun.
giving
Yeah,
up some of your time. It's really cool.
one day,
The
and
power of the
the
internet.
electricity behaved, so that was
Yes.
cool as well.
Yeah.
After how many trials? Almost 3 trials later.
Good things are worth waiting for. So it's really good. I will be we'll be in touch online and I'll let you know. I'm not sure how quickly I'll get this edited. It takes a while to get these things done. But
yeah, I'm venturing into like video creations these days, and I
yeah.
noticed that I'd never given enough respect to people who post up video content, but now I have enough respect to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to end up with like let's say a 5 minute clip. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'll say.
Great. Yeah. No,
When you're outside looking at some things, like, oh, isn't it to do a YouTube video? You just go that and then just press record and then start to cut.
yeah.
Done. No,
Yeah.
this is a lot of work.
That's
You
good.
spend like a whole 5 hours just to fix up something that's 2 minutes long.
But you have to do it, right? Yeah. It's like
But it has to be
you have
done.
to
So
write.
yeah,
You
now
have
that
to
I'm
create.
doing because I'm now like all over the internet, so
No, it's cool.
on YouTube on stuff. So because people will be asking like, how do I do this? Like, okay, so yeah, and I'm the one who said I do you know how to teach people how to make YouTube videos? I'm like, yep. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. No, I don't, but I'm sure I can figure it out by the time I have to do it.
That's great. All right, Pete. Thank you so much.
All right, cheers.
That's